So for the first time in quite some time, we have some news on the Johnny Beck front. It's been a while since we heard anything from Johnny Beck. You have to go all the way back to December of last year for the last time we really heard anything about Johnny Beck, because he was slated to fight Arizona Lara in a unification fight, and it was expected that Johnny Beck was going to do us a favor and relieve us of this long title reign from Lara. But that was not to be. He wound up testing positive for meldonium, and he has taken quite a long time off, he robbed himself, because that was a fight that Terrence Crawford was targeting. Terrence Crawford was looking at trying to become potentially a 6th division champion, because he didn't win a world title at middleweight. And if Johnny Beck would have came through that fight with Lara, then the fight was going to be Crawford versus Johnny Beck, and Bud has won a record and has stated that himself. So we haven't really seen or heard much from Johnny Beck since then, but we have news now. And that news is that Johnny Beck is moving up a weight class to super middleweight, and he is now your number 2 ranked WBO super middleweight contender. So Johnny Beck's all right back in the mix, and there isn't an announcement on what his next fight is going to be. However, this will allow him to potentially become the mandatory challenger for Hamzash Sheeraz. You understand? So I think that's a fight that inevitably he's going to target whenever he gets active again. I believe he's still on a suspension for testing positive, but once it's over, I believe he'll probably go fight Hamza Sheeraz. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about Johnny Beck at 68. What are some of the fights there? And, what does him being involved in this weight class really mean long term? Now, first and foremost, Johnny Beck versus Hamza Sheeraz, I think, is an absolutely sensational fight. Hamza's already, if you're honest about who and what Hamza Sheeraz is, then you've already seen him for what he is. And it doesn't mean he's not a good fighter, but he just has certain strengths, and he has certain weaknesses, and he has certain limitations. And when we seen Hamza fight Carlos Adames, an intelligent counterpuncher, a guy that can make him reset his feet and have to pick up his feet, he didn't look so good. A lot of people thought that Adames beat him and should have got the decision. Same thing happened when he fought the very unknown, little regarded Simon Zackenbacher, right? Or Simon from Germany, as I call him. Simon circled the ring and, just threw a couple shoe shine punches to the body here and there, and was really able to make Hamza work for positioning and pick up his feet. And he took Hamza the distance, and Hamza won a majority decision in a fight where his stock went down. So Hamza is good. Even though he's tall, he don't fight tall, and he's good when you bring the fight right to him. You understand? And Johnny Beck's a fighter with the deep amateur pedigree, punches hard in both hands, was huge for 160, still a pretty big guy for 68, but I think the 8 pounds will do him a whole lot of good. And I think that'll be a fight where you get Johnny Beck to exchange with Hamza, and it'll give Hamza, I actually, and it may sound crazy to people, but stylistically speaking, because we've been talking a lot about Hamza versus Diego Pacheco, because I have a very strong opinion that Hamza cannot beat Diego Pacheco when they fight. I think Diego Pacheco's in a box circles around him when they fight. I actually think the Johnny Beck fight is a fight that stylistically will suit Hamza better, because Johnny Beck may give Hamza the opportunity to not have to pick up his feet and exchange more. But nonetheless, even if Johnny Beck can't fight a guy like Hamza, I mean, look, Pacheco's ranked right below him. I mean, I don't know if Matchroom will let Pacheco take that fight, but that could be a potential fight. Yeah, but like, and it is also worth noting, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up. Terrence Crawford. It's August 7th as I'm shooting this. Yesterday on August 6th, he posted a video of himself training. He's getting back active again. He's training again, so speculation is there about what he's going to do. A lot of people are speculating about Terrence Crawford coming out of retirement to potentially challenge Jaron Ennis. And if not that, it's possible that Terrence Crawford maybe tries to move down in weight and go to 160 and fight down there. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that ship has sailed. I'm not even sure why I brought Crawford up, but If Crawford wants to fight Johnny Beck still, he could fight him at 68, but maybe Crawford's going to go to 60. Who knows what Crawford's going to do? But I'm saying if Crawford was talking about it before, why would he not talk about it again? It's possible he could talk about it again, but I think probably Gerard Ennis is probably the fight he's going to come out of retirement for. But nonetheless, Johnny Beck being at 168 is a magnificent addition to the weight class. He's a fantastic fighter. He tested positive for meldonium, so that does taint his reputation. But let's be real, guys. There's a lot of fighters in the sport that are on steroids. They just ain't been caught yet, or they can sign non-disclosure agreements, and it doesn't get out there to the public. So a lot of times the difference between how people see fighters is who signed the NDAs and who isn't. But let's not talk too much here on True School Sports. We don't want to get in trouble. But one fight I would like to see for Johnny Beck would be him versus Osalita Iglesias. Osalita Iglesias is a guy that people aren't exactly running to fight. Johnny Beck was that guy at one particular point, and you could say he probably still is that guy. He's not ranked in the IBF, but I would like that fight for Johnny Beck if I, the Tiger, and Aegis Clemus want to make the fight. But right now, I think the Hamza fight is the fight that they're going to look to make. They'll look to get Johnny Beck active again, and then once again make the Hamza fight, because that was a fight that was discussed. If you guys remember, Hamza Sheeraz versus Johnny Beck was discussed right before he fought Adames. They did a face-off over there in Saudi Arabia, and had Hamza handled his business and done what he was supposed to do against Adames, we might have seen that fight. But he didn't, and that's why we didn't see it. And I'd also be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that Carlos Adames himself has talked a lot about going up to 168, and Adames versus Johnny Beck for a window in time, or for a moment in time, was looked at to be the fight to make at middleweight, and it didn't happen. And Carlos Adames has been very adamant, and there's been a lot of reports from around the boxing community that when they sparred, that basically Adames was putting the beats on Johnny Beck, and that's why Johnny Beck and Aegis Clemus weren't eager to make that fight happen. So I like them I would like them to revisit that fight. I won't say too much, but I know a couple of fighters that have done their thing against Johnny Beck in the gym, but I'll keep that to myself. Johnny Beck is a good fighter. He's very strong. He's very dangerous, and it's good to have him at 168. We'll see what happens, but if he fights Hamza Sheeraz, I think that's a good fight for boxing and the division. So he is your number 2 ranked WBO contender. I won't waffle on too much more about this, but I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts about Johnny Beck being ranked by the WBO? How do you see it? And just what do you think? Leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.